You, Chairperson Durman, Ranking Member Grassley, and members of the committee. As Michigan's Chief Election Officer, my responsibility is to ensure our elections are accessible, safe, secure, and that the results are an accurate reflection of the will of the people. This is not a partisan role, and despite it being an elected position, it's not a political role. But it is a role that increasingly forces us, Republicans, Democrats, or independents, to endure threats, harassment, false and malicious attacks on our character and integrity, and sometimes even violence. I'm here today because we need your help. We cannot have a secure democracy if we do not protect the security of the people who administer our elections. And right now, we are facing an unprecedented wave of continuous, unrelenting harassment and threats. Enduring these threats creates a near constant strain of anxiety and stress on our work. The status quo is unsustainable and unacceptable. I've experienced these threats firsthand. One night in December 2020, I was about to put my son to bed when dozens of individuals descended upon our home. Growing in numbers over the course of an hour, they stood outside my front door, waking my neighbors, shouting obscenities and graphic threats into bullhorns. To this day, these images and this memory of that evening still haunts me. This was not the first, nor was it the last time some time or a group of people showed up at my home or threatened me, my staff, or many of the hundreds of local election officials in our state. As a result, there is an omnipresent feeling of anxiety and dread that permeates our daily lives and those of our families. Not long ago, my son, standing in our driveway, picked up a stick, turned to me and said, "Don't worry, Mom. If the bad guys come again, I'll get them with this." He's 6 years old. Some of these incidents have been reported and drawn media attention. Many have not. From Rochester Hills clerk Tina Barden, she received a voicemail filled with explicit language threatening her family. Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey was sent photos of a dead body with a message to imagine that body as her daughter. Other clerks beyond Michigan have told countless more stories. Local officials from political parties of both sides enduring threats to their families and their staff. These threats are not limited to personal attacks. They also involve harassment and attempts to criminalize the basic work of local election officials. We are threatened with arrest for simply doing our jobs, for educating citizens about their right to vote, or we are inundated with burdensome and often nonsensical, unnecessary demands for information and access to secure election equipment. As a result, 1 in 3 election officials report feeling unsafe on a regular basis, and more than half fear for the safety of their colleagues in future elections. And this is why we need your help. I'm grateful that a group of your colleagues have reached bipartisan agreement on reforms to the Electoral Count Act, but that is not enough. Imposing stronger penalties on those who would threaten or harm anyone involved in election administration is an important step, as is extending the same protections for the personal information of election officials that has been considered or extended to federal judges. The bottom line is we need you to act because many states like Michigan are failing to do what is necessary to protect us. For months, local election officials and I have pleaded with Michigan lawmakers to set aside money to protect us, even after threats of violence and sometimes death are levied at us and our families. Despite months of specific requests and a budget surplus, they have failed to offer anything to protect us. So you, as national leaders, can do something to demonstrate that you're willing, not just to protect all of us, but protect democracy. Like many of my colleagues, I have spent my career defending and protecting the right to vote of every eligible citizen. That commitment has never wavered, and it will not waver now. But we need you to share that commitment with us. We need you to stand with us to pass new protections, additional protections now, before it's too late.
Thank you for your testimony.